What's going on, everybody? Morning. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Neil, I imagine you had a good weekend too. Yeah, all good.
Yeah, I mean, other than the Devils dropping both games on a back-to-back at home, pretty solid weekend. Rocking some new merch today, which I'm
All the
happy about.
red on red.
Yeah, I know, it looked good, right?
Yeah, looks nice. You got your national championship tonight too, as well for
We
college football.
do,
Yeah,
we do. I forgot about that.
I forgot about it too.
I like.
Just thought I'd bring it up.
I don't think it's because it's not being talked about. I think I just forgot. I just straight up forgot.
Yeah, no, I did too.
No disrespect. It should be a good game though.
Yeah,
I'm actually like. This is the first time in a while for a national championship that I'm really excited about watching it.
yeah, and I mean it was good. Good. Well, somewhat good football weekend too for a little bit, and then had some good games on Saturday. Oh man, got to talk about the game yesterday too. I saw with what was it, Montreal and the Rangers.
That was a nutty game, was it not?
What a shit show! Like
It was all vibes. That game was nothing but vibes.
that's it. It was awesome.
And I think what Montreal won 4-3 in a shootout. Or
Yeah,
overtime?
5-4. I think it was 5-4. Yeah.
Was Shesterkin in net for that game?
No, it was quick.
That makes sense.
But
Because I was
this
going to
kid
say,
in net,
Shesterkin has been great since he got back from IR. I know
the
that.
kid in net, Daubs is his name.
Yeah, that was like his
Yeah,
second ever start, I think.
I know he just kind of took over all of a sudden. He played good.
That one save, Panarin made that
stretched.
feed in the slot.
Yeah, he stretched.
Oh,
That was nice.
it was, and I remember watching. I guess I do remember it was an overtime. I remember watching Laviolette, he was pissed, losing that game. He
Oh,
was
for sure. Well,
pissed.
now it's like you're still losing traction in the East still, right? Because
Yeah, I
now
mean
all of a
they've been
sudden,
playing a lot better, but certainly,
yeah,
you know,
Sens find a way to be the one
yeah,
wild card spot now. Bruins are
yeah,
falling out. It's like who knows what's gonna happen. It's gonna come down. It's gonna be one of those final day type
oh
situations
yeah.
there, like we know.
And it's always a good day when the Oilers' biggest star makes a boneheaded move. By the way,
Man, I saw that live on Saturday night. I'm like, what are you doing? I get
well,
the
shout out to
frustration.
Connor Garland for being an absolute pest. He
He
really
was.
got under him.
He was well, I mean, literally and figuratively, he got under him, right? And there was just no need for it. So, but because the league needs their star, he probably gets 2 games.
How many games do you think Tyler Myers gets for his cross check?
Oh, he gets I don't know. It
Do you
depends.
think he gets more?
No, well, more meaning one, maybe the same
Because
around that.
I think what was it, Bouchard? He did I don't even know
Yeah,
why Tyler Myers thought that was a good idea on his part.
stupid.
Because Bouchard is just calmly coming to him.
Yeah,
It's just bam. I mean,
yeah, I
it
know.
was really stupid.
Well, it's been a while. Thursday, a lot of things happened. We had a Thursday night game, and obviously changed to Saturday night versus the Jets. First and foremost, just a brutal way to go down twice to St. Louis, right? And frankly, Wolf mentioned it after the game on Thursday, where he just felt like it wasn't one of his best starts. And fair enough. I mean, he usually bounces back pretty well, and he did so on Saturday with an absolute masterclass of a performance. So he stopped 38 of 39, and believe it or not, the Flames beat the Jets in Winnipeg. They'll see them again actually very shortly on the schedule, but yeah, it was all Dustin Wolf yet again for however many in a row it's been. It snapped the Winnipeg Jets' 3-game win streak. The biggest story, I think, outside of Dustin Wolf being the hero that he is, was the fact that Andrei Kuzmenko scored for once.
There is a God, Kyle. There is a
I
God.
know, right? But I mean, just seeing it,
Also, that is the game-winning goal, ladies and gentlemen.
it happened to be the game winner. Kind of
What?
thought that the Jets were finding their footing there in the third period. Adam Lowry finds a way early on in the third. And then I kind of thought that, man, this is the point where they kind of give it up and, they find a way to tie the game. But Dustin Wolf stood on his head yet again in this game. And, Matthew Coronado with a sick shot. I thought it was unbelievable I think it was Eric Comrie in
He's
that.
been on a roll recently. Holy
That was his
smoke.
11th, or what does it say? It's 11th of the year for him.
Yep. And Blake
On
Coleman's
pace.
assist is his 14th. Yep.
Yeah, and he's on pace for 20 goals this year, which is exciting. Kuzmenko, you see the shot that he had there in the second, and it was a wicked wrister, right? It was a great shot. And I think, he just has to, continue providing these type of shots on net. And, Blake Coleman, I had my notes here, too, is that he's leading the Flames in points, by the way, in 2025 so far.
Isn't that crazy?
He's been quietly leading this team so far in points. And whatever, it's an empty netter. It gets the Flames to a 3-1 win. So What's your biggest takeaway from Saturday night?
I think the biggest takeaway is that look at just the shots on goal, right? So again, this felt like a very classic Flames type of game, in my opinion, where they really they grinded it out. They grinded it out and found a way to win, and I think that was the most important thing. Um, and I'm really, I think that was one of the biggest wins of the year, especially considering it was on the road. And Winnipeg is playing so well throughout the year, uh, and for them to come away with a much needed win, especially coming off of the two frustrating games against St. Louis, I thought was great. I think Kuzmenko, it's got to be a big weight off of his shoulder to finally find the back of the net again. Um, Rory Kieran's, man, I mean, this kid has come in and has produced, getting
All he's
points.
done.
That's all he's done. And you know what, Kyle? I'll give you a lot of credit, man. You said when he got called up, you said that it was the right move. It was the right guy to call up at this time. And he's taken advantage of, Zari being out, and he is running with it.
And he's been sensational, man.
And
He's
if
been really
Dustin
great.
Wolf is not a Calder Trophy finalist, I don't know. Like honestly, like at this point, name me three guys that are better than him this year, other than Macklin Celebrini and Michkov.
Yeah, it's I mean, man,
Would-
it was such a
You want to
smart
put
decision.
Lane? Is Lane Hudson a rookie? I'm trying to remember if he's a rookie or not.
Yeah, he's a rookie. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
But we won't.
Montreal's gonna totally be like, oh, he's so good, he's the best.
Yeah. Quick note just on Kieran's. They did loan him to the Wranglers yesterday.
Yeah,
It's to do the waiver exempt thing again. It's to just drive. It's a cap driven move. So it's an off day Sunday
kind of
for
like
the
a paper
Flames.
transaction, essentially, right?
Pretty much, yeah. It's
More or
just to
less.
suspect he's going to be he's going to be summoned again on Monday. So it's just a waiver cap driven whole
Right.
thing. So they brought him down yesterday, and then they're going to bring him back up today. But
Gotcha.
yeah, like he's got 4 points in 4 games. Got to keep it rolling, right? I mean, it was a smart move, and it was also a smart move to put him on the same line with Peltier and Sharon Govich, who we're trying to get going a little bit more here. But again, like it's important that Kuzmenko can find some sort of confidence. Like we knew it was going to come, and now it's just kind of like okay, like whatever. It might not happen again next game or the game after, but just like to keep like I thought outside of the goal, like he stood out to me again. Like he had a really good game on Saturday. So it's not just that; it's just standing out a little bit more. And I thought he played really well with it. 0 for 2 on the penalty kill, which is great for the Flames as well too. They found one in the back of the net as well. Thanks to Kuzmenko on that goal. But again, the whole story of this just goes right back to Wolf, right? Like to not only like do this because he had a rebound performance. And actually, let me read the quote real quick because I picked it up from Huska that he said after the game, talking about Dustin Wolf. He basically I misread the quote because I actually have a different quote here.
Read people.
Well, I got a different quote, but basically what he said afterwards was that whenever Wolf tends to have a bad game or a night that he didn't like, he tends to bounce back, and that's exactly what he did. And not only was it to just a regular team, it's the best team in the Western Conference as of right now.
As of right now, yeah.
He did that to the Jets, and he stymied them, right? So if there was any question marks still from any Flames fans going forward about who this number one goaltender is going forward, that answered it on Saturday. That answered all doubt, right? And we've already talked about it before, but it answered all doubt. The quote that I was going to read was Huska told reporters about what he was talking about Kuzmenko. So he says, I look at his shot as a weapon that can create some second opportunities as well, even if it doesn't happen to go in. He likes guys hiding in front of the net a little bit so that you can create some of those second opportunities. So he likes to. So for Kuzmenko, what's comfortable for him is he likes to have a little bit of traffic in front of the net because of his hard shot, right? So that it's easy to rebound, easy to get those kind of garbage goals, which would be great to see kind of going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, the hope is that getting a goal like that, like I said, takes that weight off of his shoulders. And maybe now he can start to find some traction here because I think between now and the deadline, this is a big opportunity for Kuzmenko to show his value, not just for the Flames, but also for just the entire league. Because we've talked about it, several times over the last couple of weeks about, you know, should the Flames move on from him? Should they not? It all just kind of depends on the situation. And I think that Kuzmenko getting a goal, I think definitely relieves some of that pressure, but you're hoping that he can continue this moving forward because not only will it help just obviously his value, but best case scenario just helps this team find ways to win like they did against Winnipeg.
And I thought like it was important because it was a needed bounce back, right? After what was such a missed opportunity against St. Louis, where you can just bury them, right,
Yeah,
in the standings and get rid of them. And mind you, like they still are. Like I'll bring up the standings again for you real quick. Like they still kind of are leading the charge a little bit because they have 2 games in hand still on St. Louis, and you've separated 3 points from yourselves despite losing both of those games in St. Louis.
yeah,
Vancouver, who I think in their last 10 games, what is it? They're 3-5, right? So
yeah,
like this is the time, right? If there's any time to like try to, gain some leverage here, you got a really good opportunity to do so, right? It's
for
funny,
sure.
like you look at the Flames and the Canucks here, 1 point separating each other, with the Flames holding down that last wildcard spot.
Hmm.
It still feels like the Canucks are going a complete different direction. And, the rumors are that Miller to the Rangers was supposed to happen. He wasn't supposed to
Supposed to
play
happen
on
yesterday. Yeah,
right. It's supposed to happen on Saturday or whatever. And
Saturday.
then
Yeah,
we got called off, and all of a sudden, like Lafreniere was supposed to be in the deal and whatever, right? Like, it's going to change the whole dynamic of this team once the dust settles, right?
sure.
And they almost blew the game on Saturday too against Edmonton, but I
Bro,
mean, it it goes back to like you got so many important games coming up that it feels like they can leverage something here going forward, right? You got
yeah,
2 games in hand, like all of a sudden you win 2 games, boom, all of a sudden you've separated from the Blues by what is it, 3 points now? You'll be separating them by 7.
right.
Like that is the difference, right?
Yeah,
And you can make it. This Flames team can make this a 2-horse race,
yeah.
right?
No, they absolutely can because they've shown time and time again this year that they have a really good ability to bounce back after maybe a bad game or two. I mean, I love using this example. I forgot the game that they played right before they played New Jersey early in the year, but I remember they played really poorly
I think
and
it was
we were
Utah.
I think it
Yeah.
was Utah, and they were awful. They were so bad. It was like one of the worst games that they played all year. And we were talking about they needed to come out against New Jersey and make a statement. And by God, they did. By
Yeah.
God, they did. And they got a big win. That helped them get going moving forward. Like that got them back into a better position. Even in this situation, you lose back to back games against St. Louis, who is currently on your tail. Um, and you think, well, what are the Flames going to do? Well, they go into Winnipeg against right now the best team in the Western Conference. You're
I
on the
think they are.
road,
Yeah.
and yeah, up there, and you find a way. You find a way to grind out a game. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but what matters more than anything is the scoreboard, and that the Flames not only won but got both points. I mean, they got both points on the road, didn't give Winnipeg any points. I know that doesn't really affect the Jets all that much, honestly, but the point I'm trying to make is simply that the Flames needed that. They needed a
Yeah.
get right game. I love using that term, get right game. And that was
Yeah.
what it was. Wasn't pretty, but it got the job done, and that's what I'm happy about. I'm really happy with the team's performance in that, and hopefully that can give them a little bit of momentum moving forward here.
You hope so.
You
You
hope
hope
so.
so.
All you can do is be hopeful, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think everybody can agree that when your team is going through a struggle, however big or small it is, you're always hoping when your team finds a way to win a game, you're always hoping that that's going to be the catalyst for something, right?
Yeah.
So, whatever the case may be, you're kind of like, that's what it is. So, like, right now, Vegas, they're on a 3-game losing streak, right? They're looking for a game that's going to get them back in the right direction, whenever that might be. If it was against the Flames, I would almost guarantee you that it would be the get right game, um, considering their massive success against us this year. But nonetheless, like Calgary gets that big win in Winnipeg in a tough environment against a really good team. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was Hellebuck was in net for that one? Correct.
No, it was Eric
No.
Comrie in that.
Now, does that not concern you if you're Winnipeg a little bit? That every time you stick out someone other than Hellebuck, you are not getting anywhere near even decent level of goaltending other than
Well,
them.
you
And
look at, well, I mean, you forget too, like this team was on like a 15-game heater at the beginning of the season, right?
yeah, I think they peaked a little
Hellebuck's still,
too
and
much.
Hellebuck's still putting up historical numbers, right? But the past has taught us from Boston that the regular season doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter as being a top team. It
Sure.
does not matter.
That's why I prefer if like the Flames finishes this first or second wild card, like I'll take it.
If it finishes today, they play the Jets, which I would still take the Jets, mind you, but
I don't think we get swept though.
No, I don't think they get swept either. I give them
I think we win a game. Maybe it goes 6.
It could go 6. I could see
because
them,
we might grind out. We might grind out another game like on the road. I don't like because earlier in the year, Kyle, the Flames were very, very solid at home. I mean, they still are. You know, they're
I mean, we got to talk about getting there first, right?
I mean, no, of course. But like they're getting a little bit better on the road. I mean, granted, that was just their 8th win on the road this year. But again, you know how it goes, man. Once the playoffs come around, anything can happen. And the same could be said for any game like during the season. The great thing about where the Flames are, what do they have to lose? They don't make the playoffs. They weren't expected to anyway.
Whole lot of nothing.
If they do, to me, in terms of like the growth and development of this team, that's a big win as well.
Yeah, it is.
So that's why I'm rolling with it. I'm rolling with the vibes, man. I'm here for it.
It was nice because like you looked at this week, right? Prior to the Blues back to back and then the Jets. And it's like, okay, like you got to at least take one. The fact they didn't take any, but still got the win in Winnipeg, I think made up for it.
Yeah.
Right? Like it kind of made up for it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, it was a great win on Saturday. It was a great win for Wolfie again. And, you know, he's like, and the crazy part is like, this team doesn't play again until Thursday.
I know. Doesn't that suck?
It sucks, but it's like kind of nice. At least, like, again, like
they do need it. I think a break is good.
It's funny. Well, it's funny because like they get this massive break. They get a massive break. They had a week in Christmas, right?
Right.
They had a full week.
Right.
And then they get a full week here in January. Essentially, it's a full week, right? Sunday to Thursday.
Pretty much.
They get a full week in February because of the Four Nations, right? And the only player going is Rasmus Andersson.
Is it only a week? I thought it was 2 weeks.
I thought it was a week and a half, give or take.
While you're
talking, see, whatever. There's a break in February, right?
Yeah.
And like the important thing too is that Rasmus Andersson is the only player going to that tournament.
That is such a relief.
So everybody else is chilling, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
So, anyway, so yeah, Rasmus goes to that, but like you have these breaks now, and you kind of have to take it as it goes because you're going to get into a lot of back-to-backs coming up, I think, right? It's a 2-week break. Thank you.
Yeah, because it's like I'm looking at it from like great. I'm looking at it from the Devils schedule because it's the first thing that popped up. Like the Devils are off from like the 9th until the 22nd of February. So yeah, essentially that is it's essentially a 2-week break for everybody because it's going to be like it's literally going to be like it's gonna happen like this. It's gonna go really fast for sure.
For sure. So you need it, and you got a lot. Then that means you got a lot of big games coming up, and then you'll have the race in March, right? March is always that time of year to do it, and it's going to be a very interesting week because we talked about it last week. Because the game on Thursday is going to be Buffalo coming into town, and I wanted to bring this up to you this morning. This was from Jeff Merrick. Okay,
love Jeff.
Love Jeff.
Have you listened to any of his new stuff, like his new podcast?
A
little bit.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, he's great. He's always been.
I just miss Jeff talking.
Yeah. So this is Jeff Merrick this morning. I wonder how many teams have had to cast out bigger trade nets with the Calgary Flames still in playoff contention this deep into January. There was very much belief that the Flames would have fallen apart by now, and GM Craig Conroy would be setting up his deadline deals, which frankly wouldn't have been a lot, right? We know that.
No.
But
No.
Calgary is in a wild card spot. That's great for them, but teams hoping to get business done in Alberta are now having to look elsewhere. For now. Prices now for top players remain high. It very much sounds like a top prospect plus a first-round pick is the opening price of doing business if you want a high-end player around the deadline.
Do you think that includes, because we talked about it last week, you think that includes Dylan Cousins?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. And that's
it's
exactly
his
what we were
term, I
talking
think.
about. Yeah.
His term and the fact that he's 23 years old, absolutely.
But he's like the one. I've said it before. Like he's like the one exception of like a young player.
Yeah.
That I would be willing to do like a deal like that for.
Sure.
Because
I think
the Flames have multiple firsts.
And they have first round picks to give, and they have prospects to give. Right? They have one of the deeper pools in the NHL. However you want to look at it, good or bad, but it's still, it's still one of the deeper pools.
Right. Yeah. So it's it.
So
I would say this to all Flames fans. I think you're going to see the Flames. I think there's a chance they might buy, but I don't think they're going to buy anything crazy.
Oh God, I think I have breaking news. This was 40 seconds ago.
What? Okay. Who does this involve?
This involves the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Did they trade Erik Karlsson?
Marco Damacchio, a source close to the Penguins, has informed the RG media that Kyle Dubas is looking for a fire sale. Big name veterans, not simply just pending free agents, are up for the trade block, and the Penguins are also willing to retain to move out Erik Karlsson.
Give me Sidney Crosby on the Flames right now.
Yeah, right.
Damn.
You're funny.
I'm hilarious. In case you
so that was literally 30 seconds ago.
Dude. Is it that? I mean, granted, it started with was Lars Eller getting dealt. That was the first domino that fell, and then Ari getting put on waivers.
Well, they're slowly falling out of the race here in the East, right? The crazy part is they're only 5 points back of Columbus.
And that's the thing. Like you're even hearing like, oh, the Rangers are looking to trade Zibanejad and Kreider, and it's like, you're still in it.
Yeah, they are. I mean, that's why they're trying to get in JT too.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, if the Rangers do that, then they're lost. They're so lost. They're done. Because I guarantee you, Kyle, 100%. Look at the way Capo Caco has played since he went to Seattle. If Lafreniere ends up in Vancouver, I'm telling you, it's gonna be the same thing over again.
It's true. Absolutely.
I honestly believe that. So like with Pittsburgh, here's the thing. Give it a little bit of time. Just that's my opinion. Okay?
Yeah.
Because if you get on a roll somehow, which I doubt, but if you get on a roll and you get to the Four Nations break and maybe you're only a point or two out, just spitballing.
Yeah.
Does it really make sense at that point to do a fire sale? I mean, I will say this. They have to do it at some point, right?
Yeah.
Because they got to rebuild at some point.
You do. You have to get a new identity in. They also have the league's third worst plus minus at minus 36.
Who's the worst? Probably Chicago, right? I would imagine.
The worst is, I think, San Jose actually at minus 47.
Second to worst is Chicago?
Chicago, yeah.
Okay, that checks out.
Yeah. So, interesting. Makes things very interesting. Hey, bad contracts to move out. I know a team that likes cap space right now, right?
What are you? So if you're okay, so now that you brought that up, from Calgary's perspective, does anything on their team stand out to you? It could be short term, it could be long term, it could be nothing. Anything.
Let's find out. I'm gonna look it up and see.
Adding Malkin or Crosby doesn't count.
We're not going down that.
Erik Karlsson, did you hear that Erik Karlsson basically was like, if they want to trade me, they can?
Yeah, because he wants to win, right?
Yo, what if he goes back to Ottawa? Again? There you go.
I mean, yeah, it appears that like everybody is available. outside of I think like I don't know like if this what he means if it's a fire sale like that does that not mean that everybody's available?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if we're gonna go off of that reporting, right? We're gonna say they're getting rid of they're gonna get rid of everybody. Does that really actually mean that guys like Crosby, Malkin are available, or
Well,
are we
Crosby
just?
just signed his he just signed
I
his
know, but like
extension,
that's what I'm saying. Like, if we're gonna go off of that, that's what I'm
right?
saying. There is nobody on this roster except okay. I'll give you one name. I'll give you one. I would say we're looking for a center, are we not?
Are you looking at Raquel?
I'm looking at Beauvillier, not Raquel. I'm looking at Beauvillier.
Pavillia.
Yes,
Why Pavillia?
because obviously he's less money, and I think that granted he's not the same player that he was when he was with the Islanders,
Right.
but I feel like that his because he does have some speed. I feel like it could work well with this Flames team because I think that they do need a little bit more speed up the center depth, and also he's pretty decent on the faceoff dot. So I mean, it would be a low risk because again, Kyle Ricard Raquel also like the man is going to be like that's $5 million that we could spend somewhere else.
Right. 100.
So like,
percent
and look
And
at
he's
Bavillier's contract, right? It's only 1.25 for this season, if I'm reading that right,
yeah
and
1.1.25.
then he's the
Yeah.
UFA.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's basically we're getting him as a rental, and look,
Well,
essentially,
yeah.
or no?
So
Am I
well, it's
reading that
funny
right?
because I it was brought up today around Flames media too because you mentioned Bolivier, right?
Mm-hmm.
One name that you can get for free who was just dropped by the Oilers was former Flame Derek Ryan. And we had the conversation
Ooh.
uh, about what was it about Kevin Rooney, right? Being dropped
Right.
because it's just not doing it anymore, right? It's just flat out not.
Yeah.
So
It-
you still have time to claim him today. Do you do it?
do it.
I
The
think
question
like
is the question is though, where are we on the waiver claim? That's the thing. We don't know.
I think we're pretty. I don't know. Like we have to see. Um, but again, like if we're just talking about trying to claim him, like I don't. I I wouldn't hate it.
No, I'm not
It
against
adds a
it.
little more depth in center, and I think it's a viable option. Excuse me for over Rooney, right? It's a
Yeah.
little bit more of a viable option. You get him for free. You can drop him down to the AHL if you need to.
Right.
Um, again, like it saves a little bit of time before Zari comes back. Like there's a lot of stipulations here. I think at like some point you need to move down. It's either like, well, the problem is this. Here it is. If you include Derek Ryan here and he
Mm-hmm.
takes out Kevin Rooney, then it doesn't really save a whole lot of room for making a move up center, right? Or
Right.
even on the wing. It just
Right.
doesn't create a whole lot of room, right?
Yeah.
And I find that the Cousins thing is the traction's still there, wherever that's at, who knows? But I mean, you can get them for free and you can move them down and whatever somebody else claims them, okay, fine,
I
right?
don't
That's
think
not
it's.
a
I think it's I think it's a pretty low risk reward type of move.
yeah, I wouldn't hate it.
I don't
I
see
wouldn't hate it.
I don't see it as like I don't see it as a big. I mean, it can't hurt, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like because let's say for all intents and purposes, let's say Derek Ryan becomes the center that we've needed, which would be a
Yes.
massive win for the Flames.
Right.
Um, it would make the deadline much more interesting for the Flames at that point because let's say again, like like Ryan's playing well and all that stuff. We've essentially filled the only thing that Craig Conroy has expressed wanting. So then it's like we just rolling with the team, which is fine. I like if we don't make a move at the deadline, even without getting Derek Ryan, I'm I'm okay with it.
Me too.
I'm not
Yeah, me too.
stressing about it. Except
No,
I, get- I don't I really don't want to see Kevin Rooney keep playing. It's frustrating me.
it's become very, very frustrating, to watch.
Because it's obvious. It's not even like something that only a certain selection of people are noticing. It's like now it's
very apparent.
Very talkable amongst
and
Flames
like
Nation.
if you want to surprise some teams in the postseason and you want to get there, I think they have to at the very least make a move. And like you know what I envision happening too, like as the years go on and whatever, you're gonna start seeing like they're about to mold this team into the young generation, right?
Right.
Brustevich has started kicking off in the AHL. A lot of younger guys too. Now we see Rory coming up, Pelletier's coming, Corona, you know what I mean? Zari, like this team's gonna eventually Zane Parekh, we haven't even mentioned him. You know, it's gonna start molding into a young team, a young good team coming up, I think. Whether that's true or not, who knows, right? But you're going to start seeing some guys who just frankly might be the odd man out, right? And that's ultimately what's going to happen, right? So Rooney's going to be the odd man out at some point. That's why I don't mind bringing Derek Ryan in a little bit here. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. We've always said it with the deadline too, and a lot of talk still happening, but it appears that a lot of teams have called Calgary about Anderson and, the supposed fire sale they were supposed to have. But now all of a sudden that they're in a playoff position, it's like, well, shit, like, you can't do
that. Elliot Friedman went and piggybacked off of what Pierre LeBrun said last week, and essentially this: Rasmus Anderson is not available.
Yeah,
it's not a discussion.
It's not happening.
No matter how many times you're going to ask, it's not happening. They want to keep him. They want to extend him, and again, we talked about it. It is we are no longer, in my opinion, unless we get a blowaway deal, we are no longer in the position where we're just gonna it's time to just get rid of all the veterans and blah blah blah. Like it's like we're starting to develop guys who want to be what?
I have more news
now.
I have more news.
Oh God!
From the Canucks PR.
Yep.
Canucks general manager Patrick Allvin will conduct a media availability today at 11:45 in the press conference room.
11:45. It's got to be
Vancouver time. Yeah.
It's got to be what?
So in about an hour. In about an hour.
Okay.
He's gonna talk. He's coming out in an hour.
There's a couple things that might happen. I'm gonna go through the order. One, someone's getting traded today.
It could be nothing, but it was the first thing that came up. I was just looking on the newsfeed, and that was the first thing that came up, that there's a media availability for Allvin in an hour. So
steps down today. We just out of nowhere.
It's become apparent that hey, a deal was supposed to happen on Saturday. At this point, like
he might go after the Rangers. Like he might
he's JT Miller's gone.
It's just a matter of where he's going to go.
Yeah, foregone conclusion. So I imagine that Allvin is probably either two things happen. I think he could very well talk about the fact that he's gone, right? He's been dealt, right? I don't know if that happens though.
Just no rumors. Elliot Friedman doesn't get on it immediately. Like he just says it right then and there. Like, oh,
we're gonna find out the next hour, right? Like they'll get inside information. They might say, oh, well, maybe he has been dealt. Who knows? Okay. Anyway, we'll figure it out as we go on. I'll do a quick ad read, and then we'll kind of get into a little bit more news going forward here, a little bit more Flames. How about that? Let's do it. All righty. Playoffs. Are we talking playoffs? You bet we are. And get it on the action on DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL and the NHL. Scoring touchdowns and scoring goals is a key way to keep winning in the playoffs, and you could score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the number one place to bet touchdowns and goals. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like players score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and make your pick. New DraftKings customers can get $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. You can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. It's only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. So, couple of things, a couple of keynotes before we kind of wrap it up today. A little bit similar earlier today, but it happens. McDavid's hearing is going to be happening today due to the cross-check that he had on Saturday. How many games does he get, Neil?
2.
2, okay. I think 2 is
Watch him get one. Watch him get one.
Is it possible he doesn't get any?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's possible too.
Connor McDavid, yes. The answer is yeah, because they'll put out some BS like, oh, he was like defending himself.
Sure. Yeah, and then obviously, like we just brought about the fact that we have a bit of news with the Canucks. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, man. Is there a trade that happens today?
Yes.
What's going to happen is we're
Yes.
going to finish the show, and then there's going to be a deal that's going to be made. That's
JT
normally
Miller
what happens.
JT Miller to the Flames for 50% retained.
Right.
I'd actually be pissed.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
No, I would actually be pissed if they even made a deal with the Canucks.
Yeah.
Because we just talked about it. We were talking about it with Buffalo.
Right.
With Dylan Cousins. Would Vancouver deal within their own division? The answer to that is no.
No.
I don't think they would.
Well, they did it last year.
Yeah, that's true.
With Elias Lindholm.
Yeah, look how that and look how that went down.
Pretty good for us.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You think Alvin wants to do that again? I don't think so.
No.
So the way I look at it is simply like it's either a trade today.
I have to jump on a call with Dylan soon, just FYI.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. And I think there will be a deal today. I think there will be a deal.
I love how you're like you have to jump on a call with Dylan. He's got the inside news today. He's gonna tell you.
Maybe he does.
He's gonna tell. We're gonna get off this episode. He's gonna tell you right away. Like
he's gonna know. Today. I know.
I think you know what, Kyle. I'm gonna give you a hot take. I think a deal with the Devils might be an option.
They've been circling around it.
It's been talked about. The problem, though, for the Devils, just from the Devils' standpoint, they'll have to shed salary to make it work.
They have to.
The only guy I can see getting moved from that team with the money is probably Andre Palat.
Mercer. I think Mercer too.
Well, but you would have to include Mercer.
Yeah, maybe include him. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But like, yeah, I don't know. It could be a team we don't expect.
Possible. I think the Rangers have been pretty aggressive, and I think that's probably where he lands. I mean, I don't think it would surprise me if he ends up in New York.
Correct me if I'm wrong. He has a no trade clause, right?
Yeah, he has to waive it.
He controls whatever happens.
He controls it. He pretty much controls it. Yeah, because he has no move.
Someone said like only a couple of teams have been allowed to speak to Miller's to Miller's
and the Canucks even said too, like, you know, no tampering in the sense that you can't talk to our guy unless he gives the okay.
Yeah,
and unless we give the okay.
I think the Devils were not one of those teams that was given the clear to talk. So my guess is that you wouldn't want to go there, which is fine. Exactly. I think I agree with you. I think it's the Rangers. Like, unless maybe it's Carolina.
Maybe.
But maybe. Who are they getting rid of? They need goaltending. They need goaltending badly. I know they just got Freddie Anderson back, but like
they need it.
They need goal.
They might not be done come deadline day. Who knows?
I think they get John Gibson at the deadline. That's my personal take.
It'll be interesting. All right, I have to actually jump off. I apologize. I have to cut this short today. So
short episode is a good episode.
Got work to do. We'll be back on Thursday, though. We'll get everybody set for Thursday night's game. Maybe more news comes into place with Dylan Cousins too, because
give it 5 minutes. Give it 5 minutes after this is over.
Something's gonna be dropped. Yeah,
I'm so ready for it.
Thanks for everybody listening, and we'll be back to you guys on Thursday with more Flame stuff. So see you guys.